What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on YouTube shit. Hey man, we are living through the motherfucking cheese, man. Turn. Today, motherfucking day, straight here outside Big Crib, man. Turn up. Gang. Hood and outside crib, man. I hope y'all been enjoying these motherfucking videos, man. Turn on with your boy, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe these videos up, man. Hey, the grind don't motherfucking stop, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn up with your boy, man. Keep on fighting with your boy, man. Never, you know what I'm saying, giving up type shit, you know what I'm saying. Turn with your boy Big Crip in this bitch, Big Crip type shit, man. You know what I'm saying. You know how it goes, man. We out here, bro. In the outside shit, man. You know what I'm saying. The gang shit. Gang. You know what I'm saying. Hey, man, hey, I'm telling you, man, that weather game type shit, man. It's gonna be that weather game type shit out here for a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, fuck with your boy, man. Free Palestine, man. Free that boy, boys Congo, man. Texas, man. Go on, fix the shit up, man. Go on, get the shit started, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all like and subscribe these videos up, man. Coming to you as a Black Hebrew Israelite, man. Make sure y'all really just, you know what I'm saying, fuck with your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't never, you know what I'm saying, stop, you know what I'm saying, putting that work, man. We'll keep on putting that work in, man. You know what I'm saying, in the north side, man. And, you know what I'm saying, like I said, Big Crip out here, man. Come to the Black Hebrew, like, let's get to this bitch. Alright, boom. Today, two motherfucking days, straight here outside Crip, man. Alright, gang. We finna talk about this shit, man. We finna talk about this motherfucking shit that's been going on, man. Juice Wrld, man. Juice motherfucking Wrld. This shit is crazy, man. You know, when, you know, you're a successful rapper type shit, man. And, you know, you live a good, decent life, man. But you know what I'm saying? Hey, Juice Wrld, man. Hey, he lived it up to however he lived it up to, man. It was a crazy life, man. You know, you go as far as it take you type shit. You need type shit, and you live life to be the best you can be type shit and have fun and don't stop putting in, you know what I'm saying, the effort type shit. And you know, when you go through the music industry, you know, you get through these labels and all this other shit, man, and you know, you put in that work and you go to performances, on stages and singing type shit. Juice Wrld, you know, he made to a point that's crazy, and you know, he young than a bitch though. You know what I'm saying? It was like before he was 21 type shit. So, you know, he rapped a lot of good songs, man, and you know, we see how, you know, the stuff how he lived his lifestyle, and you know, when you go through tight shit, you know, you do certain things and shit, you know, and you know, Crip, you know, you be on shit. And you know, you know what I'm saying? He just be like turning up type shit. But you know, when you just get just own it, and it just mess up your mind type shit. You know, you try to live through this life and you try to I guess you're just trying to have fun with the flow, but you know, when you get jammed up, that shit can be crazy, and you know, you never know what can happen. But you know, I don't really speak on for his life and shit, because you know what he went through and shit is crazy. And you know, this little documentary type shit, you know, we want to see how this went down and shit. You know, it was all crazy from the start to the end type shit. And you just want to see what's been going on. And then this crazy thing, his ex-girl, or his whoever, still doing crazy shit, man. So we got a video about what she been saying and shit, and this whole video crazy as fuck, no cap type shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Crip. So we just gonna go and watch it, and I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man, and hope y'all really get into this bit.
Airport, there's got a guy seizuring in here.
This would be the call that unfortunately marked the end of Juice WRLD's life. Just hours prior, he was seen on Instagram joking around and having fun with his entourage in a private jet en route to Chicago. However, whilst on board, the relaxed environment would transform into a state of panic after Juice WRLD also learned that, according to the original leaked case incident report, members of the Gang Investigation Federal Task Force were waiting for them to land at the airport so they could conduct a cannabis/weapons investigation. How did law enforcement know that Juice WRLD would be carrying illegal contraband upon landing? Did it have something to do with his girlfriend's meth trafficking charge from 2 years prior, or the death of another Chicago rapper from only 6 days beforehand? Was his death a result of trying to avoid jail time upon landing, or simply an unexpected overdose at the most coincidental time possible? Some conspiracy theories posit that Juice WRLD isn't even dead at all, some of which being supported by a surprising amount of evidence. Regardless, one thing was for certain, as outlined in the original case incident report. At the time of his death, Juice WRLD aka Jared Higgins was a heavy Percocet user and, quote, had a drug problem. He tried lean for the first time in the 6th grade after listening to Future's 2011 mixtape Dirty Sprite 1, with Juice stating, "What do you expect if I'm a young dude that really loves music, really looks up to these artists? I didn't have a man giving me no type of guidance. My father wasn't in my life like that. So listening to this grown-ass man rap about lean, I'm like, well, that sounds really appealing."
You always had issues with drugs even before you started to get famous and rich?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was something that I was into early, low-key, due to music. The second song I've ever heard by Future, Dirty Sprite, like off the first Dirty Sprite mixtape, had me wanting to sip lean at like 11, 12 years old, bro.
2 to 3 years later, Juice found himself getting involved with harder substances.
I ran into some Percocets my freshman year, 14, 15 years old, 13, 14.
However, despite showing his knowledge about how bad these drugs were, Juice was unable to stop his addiction.
Your mind could be telling you hell no, but your body is dependent, so it's like it could tear you apart.
It's a battle.
His music often referenced needing to take these substances as a coping mechanism for what his girlfriend explained to be an anxious, overactive, fast-paced mind. Being so famous with access to such a large pool of money also seemed to influence Juice WRLD's drug problem.
Do you feel like you fell into that trap though, as you started to get money and stuff, you just started to do more and more drugs and kind of let it get bad?
I would say, I guess somewhat.
While in a different Instagram livestream, he'd state that money did almost nothing to fix the problems that had caused his drug addiction in the first place.
I deal with anxiety and depression just because you got money. Money is the answer to certain problems, but it is not the answer to those type of problems.
In the months leading up to his death, Juice's drug problem appeared to have gotten worse.
We calculated it up, and it was like over 20 pills a day he was doing.
20% a day?
Yeah.
Juice's recording engineer Max Lord would state in a GQ interview, "We were all starting to be on his case a lot more about the amount of pills he was taking. He was hiding and compartmentalizing how much he was doing with different people. He'd come into the studio room and act like he hasn't gotten high at all that day and do a certain amount in there before I tell him, bro, no, chill. Then he was going upstairs and hanging out with the guys and doing the same thing. Max Lord would then go on to state, I and a couple other people had come to him in tears like, we're worried about you and we're scared we're going to lose you if you keep up these habits and we have to do something, which led to Juice WRLD agreeing to attend rehab, which was scheduled to begin on the 22nd of December 2019, 2 weeks after he would board the flight that would ultimately lead to his death. Jay was supposed to go to rehab that month. We tried so hard to do positive things every day like ride dirt bikes or paintball to keep busy and not do pills, but every night once he hit the studio that was it. He loved it. With all this in mind, it's hardly surprising to hear that when Juice WRLD and his 8-person entourage would pull up to the plane, they were carrying an otherworldly amount of illegal narcotics. The group had shown up to the chartered private jet over 3 hours late according to FlightAware's plane tracker. However, during the Into the Abyss Juice WRLD HBO show, his cousin Sean Bailey would state that they were actually 6 hours late before going on to mention that the pilot was in a foul mood as a result of the delay. The advantage of chartering a private jet is that once everyone is inside the plane, you can take off instantly. There's no waiting around as is the case with a commercial flight. However, after the group boarded the plane located in Van Nuys, California, they sat around for approximately 15 minutes without leaving, stating that something felt off.
The pilot was acting weird, the stewardess lady was acting weird, and I just felt something off. I got up to like, yo, we should leave. You know what I mean? I got up and walked to the door and then like
crazy
to see if the cars were still there. And I'm like, because I was gonna be like, yo, let's just go off this plane right now. Like, something's not right.
The details are foggy, but this seems to have been the time during which the pilot of the flight notified law enforcement in Chicago about the contraband on board. This move has since proven to be incredibly controversial online, with rappers such as Boosie as well as Juice's girlfriend claiming that the pilot's snitching had resulted in Juice's eventual death.
I've lost 2 of the most important people in my life because of snitches.
However, others such as this lawyer on Twitter stated the pilot was trafficking drugs and guns involuntarily and wanted to go home to his family. This is in no way his fault, children. There are multiple Reddit posts arguing about whether or not the pilot is in the wrong, so it's probably best approached by drawing your own conclusion. However, all of this is still assuming that the pilot was the one who notified law enforcement in the first place. There's no confirmation of this in the official police report. Other theories posit the law enforcement planned on searching Juice's jet, as only 5 days prior, the FBI had arrived in Chicago to investigate a gang-related murder of another rapper going by the name of Shooter Shells. Shooter Shells had released a diss track just prior to his death, aimed at a rival gang distantly related to Juice WRLD's record label. So it is possible that the searching of Juice's jet had been a result of suspected gang activity, considering the official police report does mention that the search was for cannabis/weapons. Regardless of the motive behind the search, one thing was for sure. The agents weren't leaving Chicago airport until the plane had been searched in its entirety, which would be relayed to those on the plane as they flew toward Chicago.
Everything was normal and everything was fine, and once we started getting closer to Chicago and we started getting service on our phones, our security guard, Hen, texted the group chat and was basically like, cops are here and they have a dog.
This would be the point at which Juice WRLD took an unspecified but assumed high quantity of Percocet pills. The motive for this, according to the popular mainstream media narrative, was so Juice could avoid drug charges upon landing. And while this idea makes sense as a surface level theory, many prominent individuals believe it to be incorrect and fabricated to make the story more interesting when reported. For example, Chris Long, Juice's videographer, who had been a part of the entourage on the final plane ride, took to Twitter stating, "Jay did not swallow a bunch of pills because the police were at the airport. He gave no Fs about them being there. He could have flushed them down the toilet if he cared. Jay was just hooked bad. The amount he took daily was absurd, and he hid how much he took from mostly everyone. Everyone around him tried really hard to get him to slow down. When he agreed to rehab, it was because he wanted to lower his tolerance. He didn't want to stop."
Oh, Juice knew the cops were coming, so took a handful of pills, and like, that's not what happened. I'm like, Juice did drugs, yes. You know what I mean? But he didn't try to hide them, or he knew he wasn't gonna get in trouble. He had people around him that are going to take care of.
Other individuals furthered this claim, such as Adam22 from the No Jumper podcast, who had been close with Juice WRLD in the lead up to his death.
I wonder to what extent that story is maybe different. It seems kind of so silly to just take a bunch of pills when it's like, if you were really getting busted with a bunch of illegal stuff, a handful of perks is not going to make a dent in the case.
Perhaps Juice took a high dosage to alleviate his anxiety, knowing that he was probably going to be arrested after landing. Alternatively, maybe he knew he was headed to jail for the night as a result of the other stuff on board and was taking an extra high dosage to avoid withdrawal later. Whatever the motive happened to be, the pills had been taken and there was no going back. After landing in Chicago at 1:30 a.m, the group would embark from the plane before taking a seat in the empty private jet terminal. According to the official case incident report, a police canine dog then entered lobby, began search, and immediately indicated a positive alert on a suitcase on the first cart. The dog then left and re-entered lobby for search of second cart. Canine immediately alerted on a suitcase on the second cart. Upon opening the first bag, ROs discovered a large amount of vacuum-sealed green leafy substance, suspected cannabis, and when they say large amount, they mean large amount. Juice Wrld and his entourage had packed a total of 70 pounds of cannabis into their suitcases in preparation for Juice's birthday, which had been scheduled for the night after he would die.
This weekend, we're going to Chicago to celebrate his birthday. It was just his birthday the other day, but we're going this weekend. It's Saturday. We're flying out there. We're gonna have a birthday party with his mom and family and friends and stuff like that from out there, so.
However, the sheer amount of substances held by the group has spawned a list of alternate theories about why they had been transporting such a high quantity in their luggage. One theory, which to be fair sounds a little far-fetched, is that the drugs were for Juice Wrld's girlfriend to sell after they had arrived in Chicago, the theory having come about after a user named Squirt Reynolds would tweet, "Ali Lottie, Juice Wrld's girlfriend before he passed, is a high-profile drug dealer and may have contributed to him passing away," a thread which contained a document showing that Ali had apparently been to court in 2017 for the importation of methamphetamine. Ali would respond to the tweet by stating, "Never seen methem ever, and I'm pretty sure methamphetamine is Adderalls. Ah ha ha, again. This paperwork has nothing to do with me. I'm sorry, ah ha ha ha. I don't even know the lawyer, ah ha. Bah ha ha, I don't even know bro, ah ha ha. This has nothing to do with me. Look it up, look into it, ha 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 ha. I can't help ya, I ain't losing sleep over it, ah ha ha ha." The problem with this theory is that when you read the legal documents a little more carefully, it states the defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the United States Bureau of Prisons to be imprisoned for a term of 30 months. If Ali Lottie had been convicted to a 2.5-year sentence in August 2017, how was she posting photos of herself outside in late 2017 when she was supposed to be in prison? A 2.5-year prison sentence beginning in August 2017 would also imply that Ali Lottie's entire relationship with Juice Wrld took place while she was behind bars, which clearly wasn't the case. Under the assumption that this meth trafficking charge was for another Alicia Leon, therefore being bogus and irrelevant, let's go back to the day on which Juice Wrld would die. Whilst waiting in the empty private jet terminal as the police were uncovering the concealed drugs, during the search, Jared A. Higgins, aka Juice Wrld, began to have a medical emergency. It appeared that Higgins was suffering from a seizure. ROs asked of Higgins if he suffered from any medical issues and if he had ingested any drugs. Leon related that Higgins did not have any medical conditions and that Higgins takes Percocet and has a drug problem. As a result, police would administer 2 shots of Narcan to stop the overdose. However, the rest of the group would go on to state that it didn't seem like the police cared about the fact that Juice was having a seizure.
It seemed like all the cops there just didn't give a shit. Like they sat there very nonchalantly and like Ali's screaming to call 911.
Following the realization that Juice Wrld was overdosing, he'd be rushed to the Advocate Christ Medical Center before being pronounced dead at 3:14 a.m, with the autopsy ruling the cause and manner of death to be oxycodone and codeine toxicity/accident. And while this would tragically mark the end of Juice Wrld's life, it will begin a string of conspiracy theories which put forward the idea that Juice Wrld wasn't really dead.
I may sound crazy, but please listen up. I don't believe Juice Wrld's dead. Here's why.
Those who believe the conspiracy reference tweets such as this one from 2017, which read, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death." In the song Legends, Juice would write, "What's the 27 club? We ain't making it past 21, which was certainly interesting considering Juice had died only 6 days after his 21st birthday. This was accompanied by him mentioning that he felt like John Lennon in the song All Girls Are the Same, which many consider to be further evidence for the conspiracy since they both died on the same day of the year, December 8th. In addition to this, an artist by the name of Clever, who had collaborated with Juice Wrld in the past, would release an album titled Crazy in early 2021, with the first letter of each song on the album spelling out the sentence Juice Wrld is alive. So if he wasn't dead, where had he gone? Well, the main theory is that Juice Wrld's currently living in the Bahamas. This theory began after he posted a photo in October 2019 on Instagram of a private jet with the numbers N999EH. By tracking the plane, it can be seen that instead of flying from LA to Chicago on the date of Juice's death, it instead flew to Nassau in the Bahamas. However, the problem with this conspiracy is that the N999EH jet was more than likely a rental jet owned by a charter company, meaning that it could have been anyone flying to the Bahamas on the day that Juice died. It's probably important not to give these conspiracy theories too much attention, as the ludicrousy of them could probably be seen as disrespectful to those who had to witness Juice's unfortunate passing, and the emotion shared by those in his inner circle is almost certain evidence for his tragic death at 3:14 AM on the 8th of December 2019.
You guys think he died from a drug overdose. You're wrong! You're wrong! Literally! You're wrong! So suck it. Okay? Suck it. There's a lot of y'all don't know that I breathe through myself while I live.
When Ali Lottie first dropped this clip on her IG story, I gotta admit, I was hella stressed. Stressed because it made no sense to me at the time. Stressed because it felt like she was just chasing clout. Stressed because I was done with this annoying habit of digging Juice's grave again and again, so I wanted to move on quickly from it. And I would have, but then this happened.
Going to break. Well, first I'm going to take it to court because they had me sign an NDA while I was in no state of mind too, while they had brought me drugs and made sure I was high.
Do you know that on the day Juice died, no one in the plane saw him take the pills he reportedly overdosed on? And are you aware that Juice got into an altercation with someone a fight the night before that ill-fated flight? Now, I'm not saying nothing, but if there was anything, you would expect Ali to know. So it's kind of crazy someone has her under an NDA. What are they trying to hide? What can Ali say that could be so dangerous? Who are the they she was talking about? If you ask me, I'd say the answer to those questions can be found in the last 24 hours of Ali Lottie before Juice WRLD's death. The day is 7th of December. The time is roughly 8:15 p.m. and Ali is recording a live video of Juice's last jet ride. At the time, she didn't know it was going to be his last ride. None of them did. Later that night, inside the jet, we see Juice messing around with his homies. He looks happy. He looks well. Nothing seems out of place. Now, if you know anything about the events that led to Juice's tragic demise, then you know that 6 days before this jet trip, he had already turned 21. You also know his crew had planned for a proper birthday celebration for the 8th, the day after. Juice was supposed to spend it with his mom, his family, and friends. In the meantime, Juice and his crew had arrived at this jet incredibly late. Some say they were 2 hours late, others say 6. Whatever it was, by the time they arrived, the pilot was pissed. It might have been a private flight, but there was a schedule and they were way off. Now, one question no one has ever bothered to ask that I feel is super important is why were they late? What were they doing on the day of the flight that caused them so much delay? And did it have anything to do with the altercation from the night before? Ali says she was out getting her beauty treatment on the day of the flight, and Juice was at home, supposedly getting ready for their flight.
By the time I got home, he was in the studio, but he was really high. And it was like daytime. Like, we need to pack daytime. Like, because in a little bit, we're going to have to leave, go on the jet, around like, 8-ish. I remember he just wasn't paying attention, and I was like, you need to start getting ready because I'm going to be getting these things done.
I don't need to tell you that. Juice had a serious drug problem. It was common knowledge, and he didn't try to hide it. So let's talk about what likely happened when Ali was out of the house. Again, if you are familiar with the events that led to the Juice tragic demise, then you know that he and his crew carried a lot of luggage with them into the plane. And in those bags was 70 pounds of cannabis along with ammunition. If you're not familiar with how Americans measure stuff, 70 pounds is a whole lot. That's about 33 kilograms worth of cannabis. And if you still can't visualize that, it is the weight equivalent of 2,310 iPhones. They were moving heavy, all right, and my theory is that that was what delayed them. But did Juice know about it? And did he have anything to do with the luggage in any way? That's the problem. Because of reasons you will soon come to learn, we will never know the true depth of Juice's involvement. But then that leaves us with Ali Lottie. Did she know there was cannabis in the luggage? Well, that's where things get tricky. In her interview, Ali kept talking about the night before. She kept saying something had happened the night before the trip without stating what exactly, talking vaguely about it before slipping into a rant about how she hates planes.
He was good, I was good, everyone was good, you know what I mean, from what I knew. But again, I didn't know a lot of stuff had happened the night before. But from what I knew, everything was good. And then we go on the plane, everyone knows I'm terrified. of being on planes in general previously from this, but obviously this is a huge thing. But
what was the stuff that happened from the night before? Allie never says. But for now, we'll assume that it probably had something to do with the suitcase of 70 pounds of cannabis. Now, you must know that Allie isn't really a saint when it comes to drugs and the movement of it. She has had her fair share of drug cases with the law, but the one that stuck out the most in the immediate aftermath of Juice's death had to do with a thread that went viral on Twitter. This thread claimed, with receipts, that Allie Lottie was not only a drug dealer, she had also been convicted for trafficking meth, cocaine, and heroin. This charge reportedly got her a 2.5-year sentence. It was wild when it dropped, but it was later debunked as false, because if Allie had really gotten time on those charges, she would have never met Juice. But whoever served the time had her exact name, Alicia Leon, and the chance of that happening is trippy to say the least. Now let's ignore who knew where what was and focus on who actually put that amount of cannabis in the bag on the flight, because once again, there's no way on earth it was Juice. There's no scenario where Juice was getting and smuggling 70 pounds of weed in their luggage on a private jet and with guns. My guess, it was his crew.
When I first met him, I told him like Lucid Dreams is her best song. And he was like, you think so? He said, you want to know something, Bibby? That's the only song that I sat down and I thought about. Wow. So I said, well, you know what that means? You should probably sit down and think about another song.
This man right here is Lil Bibby, co-founder of Grade A Productions, a record label, the same label that Juice Wrld was signed to, the same label that would later sign him onto a multi-million-dollar joint venture deal with Interscope Records. Lil Bibby was the one who gave Juice his first true commercial platform and structure, and he was also on that ill-fated flight. After they had arrived late and found the pilot in his feelings, members of the Juice crew would say they felt something was off, and at least one of them wanted to leave the plane at the time, a move that might or might not have saved Juice's life. We'll never know. What we do know is that they felt something was off, and they were right, because somehow at the airport in Illinois, Chicago, the same airport they were scheduled to land in a few hours, the police and the feds were waiting for them to land. Did someone tell them about the weed in the luggage? How would they have even known? The popular theory is that the pilot alerted them, but how did he know what was sealed in a luggage out of his own sight and reach? See, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole again. No one knows for certain if the pilot informed them, and no one will ever know except you can track the pilot in question and extract it from him yourself. We have bigger fish to fry, and it has everything to do with why on earth the feds were at the airport waiting for them. You see, I can understand why both the police would be waiting for them, but the FBI's presence was oddly specific and also pretty confusing. But hey, not everyone was confused. It was only confusing for those who knew nothing of Lil Bibby affiliations, confusing to those who knew nothing of the No Limit gang, confusing to those who didn't know that just a few days before Juice and his crew got on this flight, there was a gruesome murder in the city of Chicago, and Juice's crew along with Lil Bibby were neck deep in it.
Shoot 'em shells, Mr. Death 150. Yeah, I know I be catching y'all stupid ass. You know? And I got, but you know, everybody telling me to leave that other alone, just focus on his music. And they right. So I'm gonna do that, you know. Stay out the way.
This was the dude known as Shooter Shells. He was a rapper and street gangbanger, and the way they took him out was a brutal affair. Some say it was the most brutal that the city of Chicago had ever seen, but many knew he had it coming because of the extremely volatile lifestyle he had lived up until his terrible demise. Shooter Shells was a member of a Chicago gang called Black Mob. When he was serving time behind jail, his brother was killed by a No Limit gang member. So when he got out, he got on a revenge streak with kamikaze sensibilities. I say kamikaze because Shooter Shells didn't know when to stop. The man stacked up at least 5 No Limit bodies in the course of his revenge, but for some reason that wasn't enough. In 2017, he released a diss track on YouTube titled Death of 150, which was a brutal diss to the No Limit gang. This turned out to be the last straw. 3 months later, on the 10th of July, 2017, someone gave up his location, and as he was getting into his car, in broad daylight at around 9:32 a.m., a white Nissan Altima pulled up beside him. 3 shooters hopped out and fired shots at him, but Shooter Shells didn't die immediately. He staggered and fell to the ground half alive, half dead. So these 3 shooters gathered around and fired several rounds of bullets each into his head. I can't show you the photos for very obvious reasons. Just know that when the police arrived, they recovered 43 shell casings near his body. When the cops would come around to round up suspects, their prime culprit was a rapper named Mad Max. And unsurprisingly, he was a member of the No Limit gang. Okay, so what does this have to do with Juice, Lil Bibby, and the luggage of meth and guns found in the plane? Well, Lil Bibby is also a member of the No Limit gang. Artists signed to the label like G Herbo, who was also signed to Lil Bibby's label, and a frequent collaborator of Juice, was also a member of the No Limit gang. In fact, almost everyone who was under and around Lil Bibby's circle was linked to the gang in one way or the other. In fact, it was Herbo that Shooter Shells had beef with. But funny enough, Shooter Shells had gone on record saying that he had nothing but respect for Lil Bibby, even though he was a No Limit gang member. His reason was that the homie never dissed him or his Black Mob gang. This turned out to be a rookie mistake. He was giving Bibby too much credit because in the lead up to his own gruesome demise, Bibby would be quoted indirectly dissing Shooter Shells in these lyrics from Got 'Em Sick. Beefing with the gang, you might find him in a ditch. Heard that you been talking that I just been calm, you know I can switch. You know I'm a savage. I ride with the stick. I make a call and I get him hit. Now, I'm not saying Shooter Shells was slow. His decision to exclude Bibby from the beef was no error because Bibby had always been about the money. He wasn't really interested in street politics or any of that small time that could get in the way of him making some bands. All he was interested in was getting paper, and he wasn't gonna let anyone or anything get between him and the money, not even his own music career.
I've been a student since I got in. You know how most artists, they get in and say, I just want to rap. They let their people do the business. No, I be wanting to know everything. I feel like that kind of like affected my career a little bit because I want to play every role, you know.
And he had this kind of mindset from the jump because when the Chicago drill scene first started to gain traction online back in 2012, names such as Chief Keef, Lil Durk, G Herbo, and Lil Bibby were some of the biggest in the industry. And it was his eye and ear for talent that allowed him make the seamless transition from rapper to record label executive to signing Juice immediately. He listened to Lucid Dreams. In his words, he called it the best music he had ever listened to. So maybe Shooter Shells was actually slow, because anyone who knows anything about anything would tell you that the corporate world of the music industry is tougher and more diabolical than anything you'd find on the streets. I mean, the streets could prep you for that life, but the industry would still humble the hell out of you if you aren't ruthless. So while Shooter Shells was gunning for G Herbo, if he was really interested in crippling No Limit, he should have been targeting Bibby. Why? Well, because in my opinion, he was the one holding it all together, at least financially. But on top of that, he was also the most strategic and most calculating member of the No Limit gang. You don't fear the monster under the light, you fear the one hiding in the shadows. So now we know why the feds were waiting for Juice when his plane landed in Chicago at 1:30 a.m. on the 8th of December 2019. He was in bad company. At least an hour before they arrived, the cops had arrested Juice's personal bodyguard, Henry Dean. Henry was not on the private jet, but was waiting with a limousine service so he could take them to their cribs. Henry Dean had seen the officers enter the airport, and he had sent messages to the crew that there were officers on ground waiting for them, messages that they wouldn't get until they themselves had landed. It was when the crew were getting close, Henry Dean entered the airport to help everyone that was on board the flight with their luggage, but then the officers stopped him. 2 firearms were found on him, and while he had a valid firearms owner ID as well as a concealed carry license, the license did not allow him to carry a concealed firearm inside an airport, so he was cuffed and arrested. During this time, everyone was seated. Juice, Chris Long, Lil Bibby, G Herbo, every other member of the No Limit crew except Ali Lottie. Immediately they got to the lounge. Ali took a bathroom break. At the same time, K9 dogs began to search the luggages. A police K9 dog then immediately indicated a positive alert on a suitcase on the first cart. That was where they found the 70 pounds of marijuana in 41 vacuum-sealed bags and 6 bottles of liquid prescription codeine cough syrup. Ali returned from the bathroom and Juice turned to him, muttered something incoherent before collapsing to the ground with a seizure. Blood was coming from Juice's mouth and nostrils. The officers asked if Juice had suffered from any medical issues and if he had ingested any drugs. He didn't have any medical issues, but he had a drug problem. That's what they told the officers, so they administered Narcan to stop the overdose. Juice was placed in an ambulance en route to Holy Cross Hospital. Meanwhile, Chris Long, Juice's close friend and PA, had gotten into a bit of trouble. K9 found more cannabis in the second bag and 3 firearms, including 2 9mm pistols and a 40 caliber pistol, along with metal-piercing bullets and a high-capacity ammunition magazine. The 40 caliber pistol was hidden inside a bag that contained camera equipment. When they asked who the bag belonged to, Chris Long claimed ownership of the bag, but denied having any knowledge of there being a firearm inside. Chris Long would then be arrested and charged with unlawful possession of a firearm at around 2:03 a.m. on December 8, 2019. A little over an hour later, Juice WRLD would be pronounced dead at 3:14 a.m.
This morning, so many questions as to how a seemingly seemingly healthy 21-year-old could die so unexpectedly.
It was tragic, and you can imagine how heated the emotions were on that night. But there was no time to grieve just yet, cause the cops needed an explanation for who owned the 70 pounds of weed in their luggage. And this is when things took a bizarre turn. You would think either the feds, Homeland, the cops, or the gang unit would be able to pin the drugs on one of the occupants, but they couldn't. According to official police reports, none of the suitcases carrying the drugs had names or personal items attached, and no drug charges were filed. Of course, the most reasonable explanation was that No Limits owned it, but the police just couldn't prove it. Now, the question you might want to ask is, why on earth would they use Juice's plane to move that kind of incriminating cargo? You would think their #1 priority would be protecting their most profitable asset, Juice. Juice was on the clear and broad path to superstardom. There was no denying this fact. And you could argue that it was the numbers his records were doing that even kept Lil Bibby's label relevant, if not profitable. Well, you want to know what I think? You might not like it, but I strongly believe they were using Juice as a mule, a patsy, a cow that carried all of the goods, a goose laying golden eggs. The reason I am convinced this is true is because of videos like these.
Why we said we smoking on Ghost, smoking on Katie Pack, Imposto, and Mr. the Most. Man, I'ma kill you know it though.
In this clip, Juice disses two guys, one named Pasto and another named Lil Mister. At the time he dissed them, both rappers were already dead. But you gotta know by now, he wasn't just dissing individuals, he was dissing the gangs they represented. Gangs that were bitter ops of, you guessed it, the No Limit Gang. Pasto was a member of a Chicago gang called Lakeside, and back in November of 2013, at the age of just 18, he was brutally murdered, shot in the head while standing in a building somewhere in Chicago. Juice didn't know this dude from nowhere because when the dude was killed, Juice was a 15-year-old high schooler in the south suburbs of Illinois. If Bibby and the crew really cared about Juice, they would have shut him up, told him to stay in his lane. He was an emo rapper who wore his heart on his sleeves, and every one of his fans loved him for it. He didn't need to be gangster. The second dude Juice dissed in that clip, Lil Mister, was a popular Chicago drill rapper and member of a Chicago gang called Wrld. He was fatally shot in a drive-by on March 15th, 2019, 8 months before Juice himself would pass. Now, I searched the internet and couldn't find any record of a beef between Juice and Lil Mister prior to the latter or the former's death. Juice was just inheriting beef, and he was doing it to fit in. Just like Pac suddenly started moving gangster when he got out of jail and got signed to death row. Juice had adopted the persona of a No Limit gang member without the street cred. If he was still alive and he continued this way while remaining with Bibby's label, it would have probably led to violent outcomes. But you see, that's the problem. With how fast Juice was moving, there was no scenario in the multiverse where Juice stayed with Grade A. And it wasn't because Juice would have wanted to leave, it was because Grade A would have been too small to keep him from leaving. By now, 2023, Juice would have been in the top 10. If not top 5 artists in the world. Not rappers. I'm talking about musical artists across all genres. And it would make zero sense for him not to own his own label. So, what would you do if you were Grade A? What would you do if you were in charge of the fastest growing artist on the planet and there suddenly his head was touching the ceiling, pulling the rug from under your feet and possibly bringing down the whole house? If you think what I'm suggesting is crazy, then look no further than how things fell apart with Kid Laroi the moment he left Grade A. For those familiar with the rise of Kid Laroi to superstardom, long before he released the monster hit Stay with Bieber, the teenager was signed under Grade A, and Juice was kinda like his mentor and big brother. He worked closely with him, learning under Juice till he passed. Laroi was even on the flight with Juice and the rest of the crew on that terrible night. In an HBO doc on Juice's life, the singer says, "He was so ill. I was just sitting there panicking. I was like, what the f-? And at first we just thought he was having a seizure, and then the blood started coming out of his mouth and his nose." Despite all of this, Laroi stayed with Grade up until 2020. He even called Lil Bibby his big brother and mentor in an interview with Hot New Hip Hop Mag in that same year. But no one knew he had an exit plan. An exit plan that came in the form of Scooter Braun. Because I mean, if there's anyone that can make gangster CEOs feel emo, it would have to be Scooter freaking Braun. That's the man that took on Taylor Swift and her horde of Swifters and came out without a scratch. But we're getting distracted. Laroi's departure didn't sit well with Bibby or his partners at Grade A. When the Stay Crooner did a cover story with Billboard after the fact, they asked the rising superstar what happened with Grade A, but reps from Columbia jumped in to decline comment. And when Laroi eventually got the chance to speak about Grade A, he simply responded, "We won't talk about them." So, is there a possibility that Juice had started showing signs of wanting to leave Grade A? Is there a possibility that someone decided that Juice would be more useful to the label Dead Than Alive? Well, if anyone is going to suggest something that extreme or incriminating, that person has got to weigh the odds. What did Grade A stand to lose if Juice had left the label like Kid Laroi later did? Well, since Juice was the goose that laid the golden egg, they were definitely going to lose the goose. And if that goose had a good enough lawyer, then he would probably take the eggs he'd previously laid with him. But hey, you say, what would Grade A gain from Juice's passing? And seriously, I'm stunned you're asking that question. In the immediate aftermath of Juice's passing, Forbes reported that Juice had at least 3,000 unreleased songs. The metaphorical goose laid enough metaphorical eggs to reduce its literal relevance. No disrespect. Everyone knew Juice's work ethic was phenomenal.
Jared's work ethic was something that I would literally, I cannot even just say applaud. Like, I would kiss his feet like every night for it. Like, his work ethic was something that I've never seen anyone be able to do.
Now, if there's a drop of truth in this theory we just explored, then his work ethic worked against him. And since his death up to this day, Grade A has been the custodian of Juice's legacy, which means they get almost complete access and control of his catalog, which includes existing songs and unreleased songs and collaborations. And if you are a fan of the deceased rappers, you know the mess they've made of his legacy up until now. From botched releases to unending leaks to erasing features that Grade A didn't like whether or not Juice would have wanted them. Many fans are convinced that the label has done more to damage Juice's legacy than even Ally herself. Ally might not be a saint, but she's not the biggest devil on the playground. I'm trying my best to give you the dots and leave you to connect them. But if you still think it's all cap, if you think the allegations against Grade A is misplaced, if you think Kid Laroi was just being a child and Ally was just acting cuckoo, I'll leave you with one last exhibit, Max Lord. When Grade A began releasing Juice's posthumous albums, Ally was one of the many people who claimed that the label was mishandling his music. And Max Lord was one of the very few people who came to her defense. Max Lord was one of Juice WRLD's closest music engineers. And the reason why he spoke up was because Grade A had tried to rough him up. He tweeted, "I left my house as soon as I heard the news of Juice's death out of fear for my safety from them on the advice of my attorney." But it gets worse. He also says that there were open threats against him from Grade A and that they were demanding for all his recording equipment, even going as far as threatening kill him if he didn't comply. Do I need to tell you why they were doing this? Funny thing is, Max Lord also says that when Juice was alive, Grade A tried to make him record on beats he hated, and that it had happened the night before his death. On the night before that ill-fated flight, there was a physical altercation between Max Lord, a co-founder of Grade A named G Money, and Juice over beats that the Grade A execs were convinced would make them money. If you enjoyed this expose, click on a video on your screen.
Imagine, literally, I'm like, oh, blah, 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 you guys think he died from a drug overdose. You're wrong. You're wrong. Literally, you're wrong. So suck a dick. Okay? Suck a dick. There's a lot of shit y'all don't know that I fucking grieve through myself while I let y'all grieve and talk mad shit on me. I don't care.
What's good, Rizzle fam? Everything we know about the famous rapper Juice WRLD's death is nothing but a big fat lie. Well, according to his girlfriend. The way Juice WRLD died has been a mystery ever since it happened back in 2019, but now we got some new info coming up that's about to change everything. Juice's girlfriend's here and she's ready to expose the truth about his death. Jared Anthony Higgins, better known to the public eye by his artist name Juice WRLD, was a rapper and singer from Chicago. Juice gave us some iconic music that will forever be remembered, such as legendary tracks Lucid Dreams and Lean With Me that marked the year 2018 and established Juice as a top-notch artist. However, his impact stretches way beyond just that. He influenced a generation of young people who religiously followed Juice wherever he went in terms of his style and creativity. He was basically at the forefront of a completely new subgenre of hip-hop. Needless to say, those same fans and the entire music world were utterly heartbroken when they found out that Juice had passed at such a young age. On December 8, 2019, just 6 days after his 21st birthday, Juice suffered from an unknown medical emergency after landing at the Chicago Midway International Airport with his private jet that took off from Van Nuys Airport in LA. He was flying to Chicago when something terrible happened during the flight that ultimately ended Juice's life. What was initially described as a medical emergency by the media was later explained in more detail. Once the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office gave their official statement, the world was given a clear story on how one of the biggest rappers passed. Accidental OD. In the first few weeks following his death, He was not entirely sure how it all went down. However, details came in soon after, and it was said that Juice did in fact die of a consequence of OD. To be more precise, it was too much codeine and oxycodone that cut it for Juice. But it's a bit more complicated than that. See, the official story says that the pilot of the plane in which Juice was flying contacted the authorities because he suspected something funny was going on. He alerted the authorities because he believed that someone in the group of people had firearms. The plane was bound to land, and Juice knew that the feds were waiting on the ground. Because he was expecting the plane to be checked, it said that he took multiple pills. Some say it was perks, some say it wasn't. He wanted to get rid of some of the evidence they had in order to make it seem less problematic. Unfortunately, the amount he took, in combination with the drugs that were already in his system, caused insurmountable damage to Juice's body. Even though the medical team was fighting to save his life for over 40 minutes, Juice didn't make it. He's pronounced dead shortly after he was rushed to a hospital. The tragic end of such an incredible music career that Juice WRLD had came too quick. With the elements of the story being somewhat unknown, especially in the beginning, people suspected there was more to the story than what meets the eye. Plenty of stories came through since that tragic day 3 years ago trying to explain what exactly happened and how it all went down. However, regardless of what all the stories say, there is still someone really close to Juice who's denying that any of us knows the actual truth. That person? Ali Lottie, Juice's girlfriend. According to her, the story that we know about Juice is all mixed up and far from the truth. The first time that Ali addressed the trauma that she's been through and disclosed some of the more personal information about her and Juice was in 2020, exactly 1 year after Juice's death. At that time, she went on her Twitter and shared some tragic news. It's all he wanted. We worked a lot and it took a toll on my body. I was always sick. 3 miscarriages, and after he passed away, 1 more due to stress. One of the first people to call in after he passed away was my OBGYN. As it turns out, the two were trying desperately to have a kid, but luck just wasn't on their side. Ali was with a child even after Juice's unexpected passing, but she lost it because of all the stress that she was going through. Ali was using Twitter as a way to communicate with all the people who wanted to find out more about what exactly happened with Juice and what she went through as well. On his 1-year anniversary, she opened up about a number of other things as well. To this day, I cannot get on a plane or hear sirens. Too triggering. I remember these moments, minute by minute. Last year feels like minutes away. Lastly, she said she's still not healed, and judging by her tone, it looked like it wasn't going to be coming anytime soon either. Her tweet said, "Time's not real and it doesn't heal." But now we've heard from Ali once again. 3 years have passed, but she's still going through a lot. And not just that, it seems like this time around, she's way more pissed than sad. A video surfaced on her Instagram account where she made fun of all the fans who believe that Juice died from an OD. Even though she doesn't say exactly what happened, she basically is just calling people out for being dumb. She never truly gives any more details than that, and she's just leaving everyone hanging, waiting for some new info. The video goes like this.
Y'all mad because literally I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You guys think he died from a drug overdose. You're wrong. You're wrong. Literally, you're wrong. So suck a dick. Okay? Suck a dick. There's a lot of shit y'all don't know that I fucking grieve through myself while I let y'all grieve and talk mad shit on me. I don't care.
But this is not the first time that Ali raised suspicions about her boyfriend's death. Earlier this year, she posted and deleted a lengthy video about what exactly happened on the day that Juice died. She also claimed that the reason why she's not disclosing the full story is because she doesn't feel safe telling us what exactly happened. It's almost as if someone's keeping an eye out for what she's saying. The video's lost, but we know exactly what she said. "I've been quiet for the last 1.5 plus to myself. Took myself away from everyone because I knew what was going to happen. If people knew what happened the day before Jared passed and the day that Jared passed and everything like that, which I cannot speak upon at this moment, but I will. I just have to make sure that I'm safe. Know you guys have my full support. I cannot let Jared's legacy be what it is. Jared would never treat any of his fans like this. It's always been about money, and Jared made enough money to not have this issue." Now, it might seem to some like she's really onto something with this. Nobody ever denied Juice's death is under a veil of mystery, but she's also been quiet for a very long time, and because she's the only one who could ever give us some additional info, people are starting to question if this is just clout chasing attempt. Comments online are not on her side though. People think Ali's capping. This one comment read, "We literally saw the autopsy? Typical females trying to clout chase." Another one was right up there with some twofold meaning. It said, "Can't spell Ali without L. She stays talking on his name. She just thirsty for clout." We're not so sure what is real and what isn't at this point. The video that Ali deleted also said that she would take this to court. However, her nothing happened just yet, and she's looking pretty desperate at this point. There are people online who are accusing Allie of not only lying, but also being drugged up while she filmed the video that you saw earlier. It might be the case that she doesn't really know much more than we do, but she's just trying to stay relevant, as the Twitter comments earlier suggested. But we understand that she's still in pain. She's not the only person who was close to Juice who's still struggling. The manager at his music, Lil Bibby, is also going through a tough time himself. Handling Juice's affairs have been one hell of a challenge for him. He's been trying to keep the legacy of Juice WRLD alive, but the expectations are hella high and sometimes impossible to keep up with. Plus, they can be filled with contradictions. He spoke about it in one of his recent tweets. He said, "People say we don't put out enough music, but then they say we do it for money." He followed it up with another post about how his feelings were hurt and how he's trying to come up with something new that would satisfy his audience and be worthy of Juice's name. It got so bad that he even considered quitting music altogether. "I'll try my best, but I'm a human and I have feelings. This job ain't easy. People making crazy allegations and saying hurtful things. I want to put out music because I know that's what Juice wanted, and I know his fans wanted it, but I sometimes want to quit." In the end, one thing's for certain, Juice WRLD is taken away from us way too early. Pain's still there, and those who are the closest to him can obviously still feel it. And it's not any easier for them to even go through 3 years after he passed. But what y'all think about the recent video that Allie, Juice's girlfriend, came up with? You think there's something more to what she's saying? Is Juice's death still something that's unclear? Or is she simply trying to keep herself in the boat of the mainstream media? Let us know what you think all about it in the comments section below. If you like this one, make sure to check out this.
What's going on, guys? Jada Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Juice WRLD. Now, y'all know Juice WRLD passed away back in 2019, right when his career was launching. And during this time, he was dating a female by the name of Allie. Now, Allie, as of recently, has an OnlyFans. And she decided that because she didn't have any other way to make money, she put up a tape of her and Juice WRLD. You know, this is in such poor taste. But what do you expect from a female that was arrested for possession of meth and coke? Like, what else you expect, right? I knew something like this would probably happen. She's trying to profit off of his fame, even though he's no longer here, because she's too broke to go out and earn her own money. See, this is a problem that we have in our society. A lot of these women, the only way they're able to live a certain lifestyle is by dating rappers, dating professional athletes. And that's what Allie is doing now. She's on OnlyFans. And by the way, what's up with these women who are connected to famous rappers who are getting on OnlyFans? We see it with Melly's mother. She got an OnlyFans. This is a clout chase of all clout chases. And she should definitely be called out for this, because this is very horrible taste. Like, are you that desperate to get people to sign up to your OnlyFans and purchase the video? But this is where women like her are. When all else fails, get an OnlyFans. But for her to use him in this, one, let y'all know that women be filming X-rated videos in their phones too. It ain't just the dudes, it's the women as well. And she's held on to this video for years. She's held on to this video. And now she wants the world to see her thottery. This is pure thought behavior. But what else do you expect from the modern Western woman? Okay, so we're gonna get into this. This is according to Urban Islands. Fans of the late Juice WRLD are outraged that the rapper's girlfriend, Allie Lottie, has released a tape of her and the late artist on her OnlyFans account. Allie notified her fans that the tape and said that she was being forced to release it so that hackers don't get to do it. So, well, first off, how would they know that you have that video? Are you showing people? How would they know you had that? This again, in this to the iPhone users, it's very easy to hack iPhones, I guess, too, because she probably has an iPhone, and iPhones are notorious for being hacked. Or she has shown people, or has sent videos to people? How would they know you had it? And you're putting it on your OnlyFans for people to purchase. I'm not buying this situation. I'm just not. Lottie came into possession of a lot of the rapper's belongings after his untimely passing in December 8th of 2019. Juice WRLD was just 21 years old at the time of his death, which the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office said was attributed to him suffering an accidental overdose of codeine and oxycodone. According to Allie, on her OnlyFans, her subscribers can access the tape of her and the Lucid Dreams rapper for just $30. She claimed the decision to release the video came after hackers seemingly threatened to hack her stuff and have access to material involving the late rapper. But she said that she was going through his things. Did she send the video to her? If it was on his phone, did she send the video? How would they know you have that? She says, effed by her famous ex, hackers are trying to threaten her to leak an old tape with her ex-fiance Juice WRLD, she wrote. She says, I don't give a F anymore. She said that she'll leak it herself. Says it's been a long time since she's been effed rough with some big black you know what. Okay. Very descriptive from this non-melanated female. She says that she is so mad that she's adding every nude that she ever sent him to as a package. She said that she know you will at least enjoy it. Can't believe that she's actually sending this, but can't be threatened anymore. I mean, she has the whole package. Look at that. Look at that. What is going on here? I think I know. A thumbnail of the video also was shared showing her wearing only a white t-shirt with the pool in the background. It's unclear if she actually is in control of the OnlyFans account. This is by far the weirdest behavior from Ali Lottie since the rapper. I mean, she was arrested for meth. Man, come on, man. She was arrested for meth. Months after she was arrested for shoplifting at a Walmart in Arkansas, she offered a backpack for sale that the rapper gifted her. She priced the item for $30,000 and a fan bought it later, and a fan who bought it later sold it for $40,000. So he got a $10,000 profit. If that's where he bought it, if he bought it at that price. This heifer's broke. Okay, this is a broke heifer who got a hold of that video and other pics she has from him that she sent him, and she's selling it. That's disgusting. Denzel Curry says, let Juice WRLD rest, man. Juice WRLD should have never dated his ex-girlfriend Ali Lottie. She's threatening to leak her and Juice WRLD spicy content, another fan said. This is absolutely disgusting. And this is why you can't trust these heifers, man. She's a broke, bummy, meth-using heifer, allegedly. And she's using his fans in order to make money. She got to use her body. She's putting you can't take that back. Once you put a tape out there, you can't take that back. Juice WRLD is no longer here. If she actually cared about Juice WRLD, she would have never put that video out or is selling the video. And by the way, if you're buying that video and you claim to be a fan of his, you're not a fan. She's profiting off of his death. Like most of these women nowadays who profit off of the death of men, especially melanated men. And she's bragging about being effed rough by a big black you know what. I mean, this is the type of chick we're talking about here. You know, be careful the type of women you bring into your life, man. This is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. But what else can we expect? Is she gonna be held accountable for this? Probably not. If it was the other way around, y'all be trying to cancel that particular. If a dude did this to a female artist that passed away, y'all would be going in on him. You know who you are. You be trying to destroy his life. But because it's Juice WRLD, y'all like, whatever. And again, this justifies 95% of my commentary. It absolutely does. So let me know what y'all think in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram. I'll see y'all next one.
Alright, back. Alright, man. So, you know what I'm saying? That boy Juice Wrld, man. You know, they got videos and shit. And, you know, it's wild. You know, the videos that they, that she putting out. It's a sex video, bruh. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think everybody be wanting like that, sometimes that part of, you know what I'm saying, maybe what else type shit, man. But you never know in this world, man. You know, the world can be a tricky motherfucking place, gang. And, you know, what you see sometimes. Sometimes, you know, you just gotta see, like, when, you know, you get put into these situations, and, you know, he went through something that made motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, just like think like, damn, you know, everything was moving so fucking fast for the boy type shit, and shit, the nigga just like, you know, and you know, he the girl type shit on some wild crazy wild crazy shit, and you know, she what she said about how people were saying how he ended it, you know, you never know how it ends, cause you know, they say about a lot of motherfucking people, man, and you know, in some parts of people, you know, you want it to be true, but you never know out here, man, you know, but yeah, the people who are around him, you know, you never hear nothing about them no more type shit, and I don't know, some of them passed away or some shit, I don't know, I don't really know about none of them no more. After Juice Wrld disappeared, it's just, you know what I'm saying, we wouldn't know more about the shit, but, you know, we watch it, you know what I'm saying, because it just be like, man, how shit can happen, you dig? But you know, you live life and you get to more steps, and you more footsteps, and you keep on walking, and you know what I'm saying, you do your thing, you dig, and see how life is and shit. Witness what life can be, you know what I'm saying, and keep on pushing, you know what I'm saying, and praying and never giving up type shit. But you know, when it moves so fast and you just thinking about like, damn, you know, you really just wanna just keep on grinding and don't stop, you know, like they said, Juice Wrld, he had a lot of game, like a lot of like music and shit, and like he had a drive, but the label, you know, they can fuck you over, you know what I'm saying? So you know, you just try to really just keep yourself on your solid foundation and just keep on doing it, cause you know, people always trying to find ways and shit, and you know, you really just, you gotta go, sometimes you just gotta be solo dolo type shit and just try to hold everything just on the foundation of, you know, you just gotta get what you get, cause you know, you saying you just never know in life, you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying, you just We ain't never just want to just, you know what I'm saying, just really just dig. So, you know what I'm saying? So whatever happens in life, you feel me? You try to just do what it do. You feel me? Because, you know, motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? You get put in situations and, you know, the people who doing the situation just crash you out and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you don't put no blame on people crash outs because, you know what I'm saying, everything happens for a reason type shit. But you know how the pilot had, you know what I'm saying, told what the, you know what I'm saying, and it messed up the whole situation. So, you know, you just never fucking know, man. You know, you really just don't try to put, you know what I'm saying, just too much, you know what I'm saying, people, situations around and keep your circle small, and you know what I'm saying, because this world, man, it's a crazy place, man, and you know, you just don't really want to just put all, you know what I'm saying, in something, you know what I'm saying, it just put you into a tight situation. So, you know what I'm saying, you just gotta live life and push that effort, because, you know, we as we watch Juice WRLD situation, you know, we just seasons like, damn, you know, how you know, you feel like you're going to one destination to the next destination, and you just boom boom, just like that, in a quick situation, you just switch up the whole situation, and it's just like everything just how that what one movement was going to be like, it just, and I'm like you know what I'm saying, just like damn, it's just one situation. But you never know how life is meant to be. So, you know, you just keep on living it. But I hope y'all enjoyed that video and shit, man. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? That sex tape video shit crazy, man. I don't know if anybody bought no 30. Hey, who knows, man? People out here is crazy, man. People these days, man, they do anything these days. So, you know what I'm saying? You'll never just put too much, you know what I'm saying, anything into anything. So, you know what I'm saying? You just hold it down in this bitch, man. Hope y'all enjoyed these videos, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to this bitch. And out this bitch, hood and outside. Big crip type shit. Gang.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.